which means that any organism with sufficient mass and cognitive capability is a potential vector. Is something wrong?
No, nothing.
Splendid, shall we? Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, really?
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the Flood, which is why we brought the index to the control center.
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod off!
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once!
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you? Oh!
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The Flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. You don't believe me? Ask him.
Is it true?
More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light years. But once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life, or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the Flood. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
If you are unwilling to help, I will simply find another. Still, I must have the index. Give your construct to me, or I will be forced to take her from you.
That's not going to happen.
So be it. Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
Look out!
Hey guys, what's going on? We are jumping right into the action of 2 Betrayals. You have 4 Sentinels right away, and it is actually important to make sure that your overcharge shots hit as much as possible. And on the last one, I usually don't use an overcharge shot at all. You can have a little bit of easier time. As you can see, the Sentinels go like down, so they're not firing at you. That'll save you a little bit, but right away, kill as many Covenant as you can once you open these doors.
We can't let the Monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him. We have to destroy Halo. According to my analysis of the available data, I believe the best course of action is somewhat risky. An explosion of sufficient size will help destabilize the ring, and will cut through a number of primary systems. We need to trigger a detonation on a large scale, however. Staunch fusion reactors going critical would do that. I'm going to search what's left of the Covenant battlefield and see if I can locate the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. If the ship's fusion reactors are still relatively intact, we can use them to destroy Halo.
Like I said, the Covenant are the biggest threat here. You could, even with minimal cover, you can take out the Sentinels one-on-one or even two-on-one, but with 4 grunts and 2 elites, you don't have much cover against them. So I would focus all your effort on, throw a few grenades, take out some grunts, try to take out. I usually try to shoot the elites in this section, and then of course there's these jackals too, which are pretty aggressive. You want to watch out for them as well. So in a minute here, I'm going to speed it up and grab some ammo. So with this next section, there's a couple of elites hiding to the right beyond those doors. You're going to want to hide behind the shield there on the left side. It's actually a little trickier than you'd think, because there were several times where, if you're not aiming high enough, the grenade, which you think will be fine, ends up going and hitting the door. I also threw an aid, and it actually hit the shield too at one point. So you could probably tell there I had to restart a couple times, but immediately I would recommend backing up behind here. There's still just way too many enemies and almost no cover, and the grunts, as you could tell, are very aggressive. A little bit more than the jackals. Jackals will just kind of hang back. And you just don't have weapons for this type of battle and these type of circumstances. The shotgun is basically worthless because you're at mid to long range. Plasma pistol, of course, is your best go-to weapon here. So you just got to take it an enemy at a time.
I haven't located the crash site yet, but we need to buy some time in case the Monitor or his Sentinels find a way to activate Halo's final. The machinery in these canyons are Halo's primary firing mechanisms. They consist of 3 phase pulse generators that amplify Halo's signal and allow it to fire deep into space. The power levels are enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range. So, if we damage or destroy these generators, the Monitor will need to repair them before Halo can be used. That should buy us some time. I'm marking the location of the nearest pulse generator with a nav point. We need to move in and neutralize the device.
So I back up here. A little easier to work one-on-one with an elite when you got cover. All these enemies, by the way, are pretty aggressive. These grunts will run up the ledge even if they're supposed to be down there. I'm actually not sure where the elite came from. There's usually only one elite down here. But obviously he appeared. So this is kind of a long process right here unless you get really good at it. This is the first time I'd really ever tried this section. I take Hokiebird's recommendation of getting like a needler, and then I also get a plasma rifle just to save on some ammo, but taking these guys out from afar, it's a safer but longer way to do it. So feel free to kind of skip ahead in the video if you want. You can kind of tell as I'm playing, I get frustrated with it, just because they can still shoot you even if you're like barely over the ledge, and it takes forever for them to die. So that red elite was actually pretty quick. It takes me much longer for this blue elite, and it also helps to get rid of. At this point, I'd probably just throw a grenade. I was, for whatever reason, not even really sure why, but I was just saving ammo or grenades because I'm not keeping these weapons. Like I said, like I've mentioned in past videos, I tend to play much more conservatively with valuable weapons. Yeah, and so that elite just kind of rushed forward, dodging most of those needles, which is kind of why you have to make them go slower. Elite's shields are kind of like yours in that it takes time to recharge. So if you can just hit like a few needles at a time, it'll take a while then for them to recharge. So he keeps rushing forward, so I'm just thinking, well, plasma rifle might be a little bit better bet. Again, long process here. This is the most cringeworthy here, just the toughest to watch. It gets a little easier. So I am going to get him here in a minute, and then I'm going to fast forward it as I go back and get some more Needler ammo. Okay, here's round 2. Using the Needler. Again, this is probably like the only time I've ever used a Needler in Halo on Legendary. It's a little tough to watch again at the beginning. Just taking out some of these enemies is time-consuming, difficult. As you can hear, I got a very lucky stick. I did not think I would stick him. But got him there. Makes it go by a little faster. Don't really know why I pulled out a Needler at all there, but I'm glad I backed away. Otherwise, I would have probably died from my own explosion. So I got an Elite with a Lucky Nade, took out a Grunt, took out a Jackal. I know there's at least one more Elite, and then there's 2 on the pathway below. So this guy is going to give me a little bit of trouble, but I'm going to try to draw him out with fire. There he is. I know he's farther away. Let's see if I can get at a good angle here. I got to get him at an angle where I can shoot him, but he won't shoot back at me. So again, I'm kind of just thinking if I can get him. There we go. Got his shields down. So I tried to be a little bit more aggressive, but at the same time, I have 3 health now. So that is not good. There's another one of those situations where I'm clearly shooting past an inanimate object and hitting that inanimate object. And then let's see if I can get another Lucky Nade, and I do. Okay, so looking for another weapon, but now it is time. I have plenty of Needler ammo. It is time to get those 2 Elites down even further. So this is actually not that difficult. You just got to kind of wait till those Elites are not moving. Otherwise, they'll obviously dodge it. And then once they're in a position of not moving, they're like staring you down from long range. Get them in the middle of your scope there. Well, not really scope, but middle of your aiming feature. And then fire away. As you can see there, the Elite didn't even do much of a good job of dodging. I really should have fired both Needler rounds as consecutively as possible. Otherwise, he could have dodged that. But head back up here. Make sure you get a health pack. Chances are, unless you're extremely good at this game, chances are you've probably lost some health between either that first battle, right when the doors open, or all of those enemies on the ledge. You can also, maybe grab the sniper early and take them out, pistol sniper early. I would recommend at this point the pistol sniper combination, just to take out what remains of the enemies. And I really should only have a few grunts before you get down to the very bottom. Yep, there we go. I was actually heading in the wrong direction there. So feel free to kind of fast forward. I don't fast forward through this part, but you can look over the edge, see whatever enemies remain. There was a Jackal, obviously. I hear a Grunt. Don't know where he's at. There he is. A headshot. Here's a second Grunt. Okay. First one should have been a headshot. And then I'm just like, whatever. Hit him like, 3-4 times. The first one was a headshot, but again, the graphics in this game are extremely misleading. In case you haven't picked it up, that's probably my most frustrating experience with this game. It's just the graphics are are not that great in terms of being able to shoot like not right through, but right beside inanimate objects, because the inanimate object extends like, I don't know, 6 inches beyond where it actually does. So at this point, I do fail a couple times, but there's a checkpoint right before this part. You can actually snipe this elite that comes in. And I failed the first couple times. I actually have a blooper there, but I finally got him. But you do have to be very quick about it. And I'd basically have your aimer already ready. I mean, he obviously, as you could see, he sprints at 1,000 miles an hour. Should have gotten a headshot there and failed. But it's possible, even for somebody who's newer to the game. Well, not really newer to the game, just not as good like me. So that was what I thought was going to be a failed grenade, but still killed him. And at this point, I'm just seeing if I could take out everybody except for the elites. So I use Hokiebird strategy of sniping rockets at this point. I mean, there's really no good, easy way to get by this otherwise. Unless, of course, you risk it, or you're really good. So we got 3 elites right there. Try to no-scope there. I do recommend jumping when you shoot your rocket. Again, the graphics are a little misleading. I think there's an alive leap, which is why I threw the grenade. But again, the graphics are misleading, so even if you're aiming above the ledge that you're right in front of, you could still end up dying. You can still shoot it. Kind of got a little lucky with that sniper shot, I feel like. And now I got all the elites. You're gonna ditch the sniper, so again, what I generally do is use whatever weapon you have that you're about to get rid of. So there you saw it too. At least it hurts the jackals as well. I just sniped the tree twice, even though the tree wasn't there, and the jackal shot the tree as well. So shouldn't have to worry about the wraith, but there is randomly another elite there. I'm not sure if there must have been supposed to be 4 elites and one just didn't run over, or if that's like an elite that just randomly appeared simply because I had sniped the elite that was in the wraith, but kind of took me by surprise in game. So got to mop him up quick. I'm not bringing a plasma pistol, so I'm going to use this as much as possible. Of course, that shot missed. A little too far range for a plasma pistol. Don't know where he's at. He's to my left. There we go. Should be relatively easy to mop him up. Except it takes me almost a full clip. So there's that. But when you're ready to go, I usually leave this area with rockets pistol combo. Just gotta find my rockets somewhere. Right there, yep. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and grab that Banshee. Again, you probably won't have enough sniper ammo to leave with a sniper in this. Plus, it's not really useful at this point.
Good. Let's get moving. The nav point marks our target.
So, 2 Betrayals is probably going to be the longest mission of this game, and it's kind of technically shorter. By the way, I'm just going back and getting more ammo. If you hadn't grabbed that health pack from earlier, you can, but there's shotgun ammo, pistol ammo. But 2 Betrayals is probably the longest mission, even though it's kind of technically shorter than Assault on the Control Room. You just basically do Assault on the Control Room backward, but you don't go all the way back to the beginning of Assault on the Control Room. 2 Betrayals, though, here does have this extra little additional mission where you have to destroy a lot of these pillars. By the way, what I'm doing here is probably actually not what I'd recommend. It's much better to actually charge these people, a few grunts and an elite, simply because well, I end up shooting the elite's plasma pistol off the side, and that's not helpful. It's much better to have a plasma pistol here, so I'm like, ah, crap. Hokiebird had recommended charging them. I was actually more worried about, you know, getting stuck or something like that. Not still likely to be the case, but oh well, you're working with what you have. There's a needler there, but obviously that's not useful. You're about to face a bunch of sentinels, so rockets, pistol are not the greatest combo. So this part is skippable, which I don't normally do, but I decided to since I don't have a plasma.
Objective accomplished. The pulse generator has overloaded. Scanning. The generator's central core is offline. Well done.
So you'll always get a fresh Banshee here.
The second pulse generator is located in the adjacent canyon. Move out and I'll mark the target with a nav point when we get closer.
So pretty standard kind of Banshee enemy killing here. Just kind of hover above them, fly back and forth. There's your biggest threats are the grunts with plasma, or not plasma, fuel rod cannons, followed by the elites. I don't really take them out in any particular order, just be aware. I'm basically shooting at whatever I can see right away. Just make sure you're not flying too close to the ledge where everybody else is. Obviously then, elites will pretty quickly take down your Banshee's health, or the fuel rod cannon grunts will, take you out in potentially one shot. And I'm just double checking, do I have everything killed here? Go at a better angle, looks like I do.
Head through that door. That's the way to the next canyon.
Nope, almost flattened myself by the Banshee. Don't want to do that. But I do want to say that I will fast forward the video as I have already a couple times. So just got to be aware of that. I apologize for the lack of flow. It just kind of saves on a little bit of time. And it's not really... Usually I'm just fast forwarding on parts where I grab more ammo or grenades or something like that. But I do also kind of carry... do the little strategy where I'll kind of quote-unquote carry 3 weapons at a time. So at this part, I was really banking on not using my rocket launcher and grabbing that grunt's weapon right here, except it disappeared. So I guess I'm gonna have to, that was a majorly failed grenade, but I will have to take them all out the hard way. Just kind of going back and forth, seeing if any grunts pop out that I can easily take out. So I used one rocket here, and I'm about to use a rocket on the other elite. Again, red elites can save rockets, or not save rockets. Red elites can actually survive like a direct rocket hit. So you got to be ready to pull out your pistol or whatever secondary weapon that you have. Waiting for my shields. There we go. And make sure you mop them up. This part is annoying and frustrating. This is by far the biggest reason why I wanted that grunts. I think he has a plasma pistol. A plasma pistol would be much more helpful against a couple jackals than rockets and pistol combo. Obviously the rockets can take him out pretty quickly, but I would rather save my rockets for elites or flood later on. I do also use Hokiebird's same strategy of just here I'm saving on both those ammo, just firing barely above this where you're safe, but you can actually hit them. Got that jackal as well. This was kind of a frustrating part. I'm actually not watching my radar at all. I'm just kind of slowly shooting some of these guys. As you can see, right now, there's a guy slowly creeping to my left. I do not see him at all. All of a sudden, I'm getting fired at from the left-hand side. I'm like, what is that? And it was one of those two jackals. So I stuck the first yellow jackal, and then the other one sneaks up on me and makes me lose a bunch of health. I actually ended up killing both elites here. I didn't think I got that second elite. So now I'm kind of being cautious, waiting for that other elite to pop out. I'm assuming he's just kind of, letting his shields charge, but I'll find out eventually in the end I did actually kill him. So it's really actually just mopping up grunts. Again, I do apologize for the length of the video as well. This is an hour and 45 minutes of this level. I'm sure you can get through it much faster. Yes, I still think the elite's alive, so I'm getting ready to find him. Got an overcharge. He's not here, so I eventually, in a minute, I'm going to actually fast forward now that I figure out that he's not here, and run back and get my pistol and rocket launcher. But this one, like I said, this took me an hour and 45 minutes. There are 3 jackals, you want to make sure you get them. I'm sure you can get through it a little faster, and with a few more tries, this is really all the first time that I tried this level, but I'm sure you can do a faster job of it. And with a little more practice, I can guarantee I will as well. I didn't actually die very much in this. I did revert to the last checkpoint a few times, like when I tried to, like I'd mentioned before, when I tried to snipe that elite that was running into the first wraith that you battle. So I reverted to the checkpoint a few times and died a few times, but maybe at some point I will come up with a run where you end up not being able to die or can't revert to checkpoint without restarting the mission. So at this point, if I were to do this level a second time around, I'd probably be more aggressive here. None of these enemies are aggressive at all. They're just kind of hanging back. And you have plenty of cover with the pillars here. I'm trying to take out the grunts first, save the elites for last. But none of these enemies really throw grenades either. Again, I didn't get super close to see if they would throw grenades, but you got cover with the pillars, and hey, just throw a couple grenades at these elites. These elites are honestly too far away for a plasma overcharge, so I do finally decide to go a little closer and try to weed both of them out with grenades. There are 2 of them though, so still got to be a little cautious. But it is beneficial, like I'm doing here, to fire at the elites after you've thrown a grenade. It simply kind of locks them into place. So I'm going to fast forward it again at this point. Okay, so now I have pistol, plasma pistol, and rockets. And again, I am doing my again, it's a time-consuming strategy, but it is kind of well worth it at certain parts. Maybe not entirely necessary around this time, but I do this a lot more for the flood-based. And as you can see here, I had to restart. This one, I think I ended up dying, so there's a blooper at the tail end at this part. But with Flood and Covenant, their different weapons are obviously either weaker or stronger depending on Flood or Covenant. I ended up actually dying, I think, twice at this part. The very first run that I had 2 almost perfect grenades that just cleared everybody out. But this one was actually my worst, because then I had the jackals and grunts that are on the other side of that wall firing at me. So I lost that little bit of health there. And then my grenades actually didn't kill either of these elites there. So the jackals right here are super aggressive. So don't underestimate them. One of my runs, where I ended up dying, I threw, I think, 3 grenades at these jackals, and not a single grenade killed a jackal. I don't know how to explain it. They weren't bad grenades. I guess these jackals, just had enough cover. I mean, there were 1 plasma grenade and 2 frag grenades. So what I ended up finally deciding to do is just use an overshield, or use an overcharge, and then take them out. Overcharge grenade combo. So overcharge with the plasma rifle does, of course, stun them, and then throw a grenade. So in this section, you will end up getting some flood to spawn once 2 enemies remain. So I'm going to take out as many of the grunts and jackals as I can. That was actually completely fine that he hit me. I had no other way for enemies to make me lose health, plus there's 2 health packs here, so as long as I didn't get absolutely careless, then I wouldn't have to worry about it at all. I mean, you could get down to red and still not have any issues, but trying to see if I could find a good angle at a jackal or a grunt or anything that's not that elite. I'm going to save the flood for those elites. There's 2 elites back there. So there's a jackal. And I know there's a grunt still over there. I just can't quite see him. There he is. There's a second grunt who is getting hurt. And hurt, and hurt, and hurt, but not dying. So I don't know what is going on with this grunt, if I'm hitting the wall or what. But I was running out of ammo there, so not much I could do. I'm just going to find a different angle and maybe get him that way. So the flood have not spawned, so I know there's still a grunt. Again, I'm going to find another angle. Take out that grunt. There he is. And there we go. So, of course, you can skip this battle pretty much entirely. I'm not really one to, skip anything. I like getting right into the action, so I throw a grenade and just fire away. Kind of the downside, though, obviously, is now I have to fight this elite basically one-on-one rather than letting the flood take him out. But the more action, the better. But if you're trying to save ammo, maybe let them fight it out. Alright, so the music has changed. We're on our next section. I do actually end up realizing that I'm going to need a 3rd weapon, so I'm going to fast forward it here in just a second. We're on the bridge again. This part's a little bit, isn't really too hard, you just kind of have to know what you're doing. Alright, so I have a plasma pistol, a rocket waiting, and then a pistol. So there's several jackals here. There's also going to be some elites. I just kind of move back and forth between each side, take out the jackals. I mean, they're expecting me on the other side. Makes it really easy. They are, as you can see, pretty aggressive. I didn't know how aggressive they would be, so I kind of came back here to see if they would pop around the corner, but they don't. So head back and take them out. Probably could end up just using nothing but plasma pistol. The last one, as you could tell, is backing up here. Once again, I stopped shooting because I think he's dead. I think that's enough shots to kill him, but obviously it's not. Got some elites. if you move up far enough, then some of the flood come over. I'm actually, oh, that should have been a stick. I had the wrong grenades out. But obviously the 2 flood that jump over are not going to do much damage with the elites, so I was really... don't know if you could really see what happened there, but there was an elite that was basically standing on the ledge, saw me, started doing his little animation, and then fell off the ledge because of it. So, but yeah, I was definitely helping out the flood there. And here, again, if you have a rocket launcher shotgun combo, that would work out fine. Not in any serious danger. I know I'm backing up pretty quickly, but I was never really worried about dying from that elite. You can run, as fast as the elite can, so he's not getting any closer. Just make sure you take time to aim and fire away. Again, once you get his shields down, is not usually that difficult. So there are 2 flood that'll jump over. They both have plasma pistols, or plasma rifles, sorry. I usually go on the other side of them, so they're not on both sides of me. What I would either do if I were you is run up ahead or just back up. Again, I was just getting 3 weapons, so it's something that's completely optional. If you have, as you play this game more often, you shouldn't really have to worry about needing to do this too often. But I'm again a guy that likes to play pretty conservatively, so why not? I'm going to lead with the plasma pistol, but I'm actually going to end up switching to the pistol here because there's nothing but flood. So at this point, a few grenades will be helpful. They do try to flank you. I don't know how that one didn't stick him. But I don't really have the best weapons for this section. A shotgun would have been very handy. I am going to end up picking up the shotgun. The very first flood that shot me, as you could tell, was a flood with a shotgun. So I'm going to end up trying to find his shotgun and use that to kill everything else. There are multiple waves of enemies in this. That's a lot of flood. But there are multiple waves of enemies in this room. So, don't feel like you're all of a sudden done when this first wave comes through. 3 waves total. Here I am trying to look for the shotgun. I know it was over there. Being a little bit leery because I don't know who has a shotgun, and I couldn't quite remember if anybody has a rocket launcher either in this section. I don't think anybody does. But I also don't know if that's 100% of the time nobody does, or maybe it's like a 50-50 shot. Again, I'm staying back, being cautious, making sure that I can see anybody that's coming up to me. I knew this guy didn't have a shotgun. I saw him out of the corner of my eye, so I kind of let him charge me. It did look like there was a shotgun guy up there, so I wanted to make sure I took him out. And then this is probably the best spot if you have a shotgun. If you have just a plasma or a pistol or plasma weapons, probably not the greatest, because then you're going to end up getting charged by 2, 3, 4 flood, and that's not a good recipe if you have those weapons. So there's another round of flood past here. I'm just kind of waiting to make sure I can see them. They didn't show up on the radar. Again, that's why I stepped back. 2 guys with shotguns right there. Again, just be cautious and careful that you're not rounding corners. Even if you're one-on-one with a shotgun flood and you think you can, kill them, there might be a second one. So for this part, just let these guys fight no matter what. Flood and elites, don't run away though, or don't go looking for ammo, because you have to time it pretty well here. Don't jump out either. Yep, there's. I was waiting for the rocket flood, so he killed one of the elites. I'm making sure that the rocket flood wasn't going to kill me. Come up behind this guy with a shotgun. Now I'm going to go back for ammo. Oh, really, I should have said I was going back for the shotgun, or for the rocket launcher. This section actually is not going to be hard. There's two of those flood, and then I think 4 poppers. So I kind of was a little lucky here. My rocket launcher is on the ground, and a lot of the times these poppers will shoot your rocket launcher, so it all of a sudden disappears. So I kind of got lucky that it didn't go into nowhere land. I couldn't quite remember when I was playing how many other flood there was, but there's only those 6 total at the beginning. Then you can move up, and that guy has a shotgun, so make sure you take him out. And then the rest should be relatively easy. Just make sure you're checking your motion tracker. You don't want to get flanked. Half of them don't have weapons, so as long as you know where they are, you shouldn't have to worry about it. And so that's kind of what I'm talking about too. There's that shotgun that was like fused into the wall. If you have like your rocket launcher on the floor and all of a sudden an explosion moves it somewhere, it could get lodged into a wall. You should still be able to pick it up sometimes, but I'd rather play it safe than sorry. So I'm just taking out the small little flood here. There will pretty much always be a couple of flood that are stuck in those tubes. On the right hand side, that guy always has an assault rifle. And I'm actually going to save a little bit of pistol ammo here. I got plenty of both, so not a huge deal, but I'm just going to shotgun this guy. Plus I got to go back for my rocket launcher anyway, so I'm going to pick that up and then move to the next section. So I've got to take care of all of these. Again, in this section, the best combination is if you're just looking on using 2 weapons. There's a health back there, obviously. But if you're just looking at using 2 weapons, I'd probably drop the pistol. Shotgun, rocket launcher combo. Again, there's plenty of shotgun ammo throughout this, but at this particular section, you'll need the rocket launcher because there's a Banshee who fires at me right away. What I do is I'll let it fire at me and then just kind of move back and forth, move left to right, so the bullets, so I can dodge some of the bullets. But then he doesn't drive off just because I've remained hidden. The moment that you look like you're going to hide, a Banshee will stop like dive bombing you. So I know those flood are right around the corner there. Haha, my rocket hit him. I know the flood's right around the corner there. I'm just I was a little worried about them shooting at me or getting the jump on me while I was trying to kill that Banshee, but obviously they didn't. In this part, you pretty much face nothing but flood. There are several points where they jump out at you. That's one of them. I think there's one more later on. This first wave of flood right here don't have rockets, but the next one set that I'm looking at do have rockets, so definitely stay back. Make sure that you're not getting shot. If a couple of them shoot at you, it might be hard to dodge two rockets. The flood do kind of randomly shoot, but even in the middle of their randomness, they can hit you. So I'm pretty lucky here that I'm able to shoot all of them so far until that one, and without them blowing up the other rockets that are laying there. Again, I have a rocket launcher that I've been carrying, so I'm not in any major need of rocket launcher ammo. Just being extra cautious as well. And I'm actually going to kind of check here if I can get full rocket launcher without needing to... Ooh, that one. Another one there. But seeing if I can get full rocket launcher ammo without having to run all the way back and getting mine. You didn't see it. I actually had to pause. I actually had to pause my screen because my kid interrupted me, so I got a little lost there and forgot where I was going. I pause again in a minute here after I kill a lot of these because my son was interrupting me again, and I am completely lost as to which way I'm supposed to go. So in a minute, I'll fast forward it. So little bit of a my bad part here. Again, I'm going to fast forward in a minute once I realize where I'm. Okay, sorry about that. But now that we're heading in the right direction, just end up killing all of these flood, or just skipping them. I mean, again, they're not any threat at this point. There's no more flood or anything that appears. You're pretty much home free. So I'm just doing my 3-weapon little trick here. Come on, there we go. Got a checkpoint. I don't think I end up dying at this point. I think I have 1 or 2 more deaths later on. Oh, this is a fairly easy room. You can either shoot or beat down all of these flood. They don't actually even go for you at all. But I'm going back for my pistol because it does look like I'll be shooting from farther range. At some point here, the flood will appear if you move up far enough. I'm kind of just about wasting time there. There we go. There are, again, no rocket launcher flood in this room, so you don't have to be super cautious, but obviously, again, you don't want any of the flood to catch you off guard. Two shots from a pistol with those poppers and they're dead. So once I've cleared the room, here's a few more. I wanted to throw a grenade and kill them all before they saw me, but they saw me anyway. I think I ended up killing them all anyway, yep. So in a minute here, I'm going to head back, and after I kill all these, I'm going to head back and pick up my rocket launcher. I'll fast forward through that part as well. Alright, and again, the best benefit to this having 3 weapons is that you get a little bit more flexibility. It's obviously slower, but at this point, I've done this before to where I've tried to get 3 weapons down this elevator, but it doesn't work. It ends up not really despawning, you just can't pick it up anymore. Sometimes it'll fall off the edge, so you do have to only have 2 weapons here. And I should have chose a shotgun. This would be so much easier. This room isn't hard at all, even with a pistol. It's just so much quicker with a shotgun. But there are a bunch of the human flood. Go ahead and take them out. None of them have weapons. at this point I'm kind of thinking, well, I don't want to back up too far. So I want to eliminate them pretty quick and then move forward. So I don't want like 3 more appearing and then backing me in a corner. In that case, I would end up having a tough time getting through them. But I think there's really only like 3 or 4 remaining. Again, pretty easy room. Shouldn't have much difficulty, even if you don't have a shotgun. The downside is, as powerful as the pistol is against like Covenant, it does almost no damage to the Flood, as you can tell. I mean, each Flood takes at least 5 or 6 shots to kill them, and even in that case, sometimes they'll jump back up after they've fallen. So only one more. It's up top there, so don't forget about him, because I've had it where he jumps down and hits me from behind. Yep, there we go. Again, shotgun would have been a whole lot better in that room, but oh well. Not a hard room. But a pistol is much more advantageous outside, so that is one of the advantages of having the pistol at this point. The only problem is you don't really get much pistol ammo except for whatever the Flood drops. There is a spot nearby for both shotgun ammo and rocket launcher ammo.
Okay, let's take care of the next pulse generator.
And I'll show you that in just a second. So, careful of the Wraith. Kill that Banshee just like you would a normal Banshee when you have the rocket launcher, but definitely watch that Wraith, because that Wraith is actually pretty accurate compared to most other Wraiths. At least in my experience. So run to the Ghost and hightail it out of there so you don't get killed. There's another Ghost that's waiting for you. Just make sure that you keep kind of running around in circles so you're not like firing at him head on. You'll get a little bit of damage, but it shouldn't be too bad. So shouldn't be too difficult. Down here there's no enemies, but again, health packs over there, which I have full health, and then there's actually shotgun ammo and rocket launcher ammo, so I only need 1 rocket. I was hoping there was pistol ammo, which there is, so shotgun, pistol, and rocket launcher ammo, so I'm sorry about that. I didn't even realize there was pistol ammo, and I didn't even realize it when I was playing. But on this part, I'll always go off to the right here, just to eliminate as many of the ground troops as I can. Anything that I could see, I'm going to shoot at, especially the turret, if there is something in the turret, of course, because that's going to end up hurting your shield or hurting your Ghost big time. Ooh, a little bit of a fail. Obviously, there's 2. Oh, I let that one get a little close to me. Obviously, there's 2 turrets here, so you got to kind of take care of each of them. I'm doing this kind of the slower way, slower but safer way, so feel free to jump a little bit in the video if you don't want to watch this. It's just basically me shooting at a bunch of enemies, making sure that I don't get shot by that Wraith. Like I said, it does take me a few minutes here. I'm sure you can get it much quicker than I can, or than I did here. Again, I'm just playing it kind of safe rather than sorry. I am focusing more on the ground troops as opposed to the Wraith, simply because those are what are going to take down your shields quicker. Well, not shields, but your Ghost health quicker. Pretty easy to avoid that Wraith, although as you can tell right there, on Legendary, those Wraiths kind of try to anticipate where you're going. I was clearly just starting to head to the right, yet he aimed where I was going. So you do got to be careful with that. The unfortunate part, again, this is a safe rather than sorry type of method. It takes forever to kill a Wraith and a Ghost. So I believe I have killed everything. Oh, yep, right there again. He shoots where I'm going, and right there he is pretty accurate if you're not paying attention. But I think I got all the ground troops gone except for that elite. It does, later on, I didn't actually realize this was a trick until this level. But you can actually get more accurate ghost shots if you, instead of holding down the trigger, if you just press it really, really fast. So again, I'm playing on an Xbox as opposed to a PC and the Xbox 360. So right trigger is fire for me. If you, instead of just holding down the right trigger, if you press it super fast, right trigger, right trigger, right trigger, the ghost doesn't shoot randomly. You'll actually get much more constant fire. So once the race was dead there, I ended up just charging that elite. By the way, there was a checkpoint there. I had to do this in 2 days because, well, like I said, my son was home and it was about time for me to give him a little attention. So this is day 2. It's not that I died at this point. Like I said, I do die, I think a couple times later on, but not at this point. I just, new day for me. There's a health pack plus a bunch of frag grenades and ammo if you need it. It didn't look like I really needed anything. But there are 3 grunts up here. Shouldn't be too hard. I'm just kind of staying back because I'm playing it safe rather than sorry. Feel free to charge them. I mean, they're grunts. Even if they throw grenades, they're kind of easy to dodge. But again, I'd like playing these without dying 20 times. Again, maybe in the future I'll try to do some speed runs or something through some of these levels. Not like legit, like, oh, I can do keys in 10 minutes type of speed run, but like, be super aggressive just to get a bunch of deaths and have a montage of deaths. So first thing to do when you're out in this section is to get the Banshee's attention. I fire a few times waiting for the Banshee to come, but he never does. So in a minute here, I'm going to get back into the ghost and shoot some more. I am definitely not wanting to move forward and having, there's a turret, there's a couple hunters off to the right. There's a bunch of stuff that you don't want to get close enough to have them fire at you when you also are trying to take out a Banshee. So again, pretty easy. Take out the Banshee the same way you've been doing every other Banshee, and then move on. I am, at this point, still not being super aggressive. I'm trying to see how close I can get before they start firing. And I do usually take that Wraith out, or not that Wraith, take that turret out with a rocket launcher. It ends up not working in this instance. I did kill the grunt in there, but the turret is actually still not on its side. And I realized that right there. But I'm going to quickly kind of take out these elites and then hightail it out of there. You do still have to be worried a little bit at least about that Wraith. If you hang in one area too long, again, Wraiths on Legendary can be pretty accurate. So even if he can't see you directly, even if he's randomly firing, that can ruin your run if you're trying to do like a no deaths run or something like that. So I'm kind of tired of that grunt not dying, so I just jump into Banshee. I know I could take a little bit of damage because there's 2 healthy Banshees, but fun part right here, Wraith kills him. So I was about to Banshee bomb that turret, and the Wraith did all the work for me. I know there's some Banshees around here, so I'm not even focused on the Rake yet. There's a one that I rocketed down. Here we go. I thought I saw him. There we go. Turn that corner pretty nicely to escape from me, but nonetheless, I will hunt him down. I don't know this level crazy well, but I thought there was always 2 Banshees, but all of a sudden that one came out of nowhere, and I was like, oh my, where did he come from? I think there's actually 4 Banshees that I ended up taking out in this section before I even could focus on the Wraith. So I was actually kind of lucky that Banshee Bomb, that first Banshee Bomb, did kill me. So again, I'm only thinking there's 3 Banshees, and I do think another one pops up here. Could be wrong. I think you can kind of see him on the radar. There's a big dot on the radar that I don't think was the Wraith, but this, of course, killing a Wraith and a Banshee, this is probably your safest method. Don't get too close. Banshee Bomb him as accurate as you can. It's the Banshee Bomb that's doing the most damage. You know, some of the regular shots will do a little bit of damage too, but it just takes forever. So make sure your Banshee Bombs do hit him. Ooh, getting a little close there. So I really didn't feel like I was actually super close to him. I think that was just kind of a random shot that did get close, but you have to be aware of that you don't want to get too close. There's a couple times here where I think the Wraith is dead and he keeps shooting at me. It looks like he blows up, but what I'm seeing is him actually shooting at me. So mop up the rest of the grunts here. Again, don't forget about the hunters that are off to my right. That grunt looked like he just survived the Banshee Bomb. I was like, what on earth? But don't forget about the hunters on the other side of the giant rock thingy. I actually do forget about them. I'll kill them later on, but at this point I'm just taking out all the enemies and moving on to the next section here. Got to destroy one of the pillars. The 2 things that you have to really be worried about are the turrets and of course the grunts with fuel rod cannons. A fuel rod cannon, I have been damaged a little bit, so 1 fuel rod cannon would probably kill me. But you can actually if you're Banshee, and there's that 4th Banshee, that kind of surprised me. Then we almost got each other in our scope, so I was like, oh boy, he's about to Banshee Bomb me. But shouldn't be too hard to take him out. Again, just make sure you're not caught off guard. I had 4 Banshees in this area, like I said. I don't know, what do you guys always get 4 as well? I could swear, maybe it's when I'm playing on Heroic or something, but I could swear there's always either like 2 or maybe even 3. Does it vary from gameplay to gameplay? But either way, knock them all out. Get those, again, fuel rod grunts as quickly as you can. You can actually survive a fuel rod cannon shot even at full health. I saved the elite for last. At least I have before, even on legendary. And again, I get a little too close to that ledge. I didn't think I was, but apparently I was. There's a grunt with a fuel rod cannon in that section as well. And oof, he is wildly accurate from far away. So it shouldn't be too hard to mop him up. Again, just keep your distance to ensure that you don't die. But whew, I almost kind of fell into that one now. So I am trying to look for where this grunt is. I think he's on the other side. Just got to take him out. There we go. There he is. And got him. So there's a bunch of flood in this section, so just be aware of that. Shotgun, rocket launcher would be the best combination right now. I'm looking for a 3rd weapon just to save on some of my ammo, but I think everything blew off the edge. Not a big deal. We'll go on. The Flood and Sentinels fight right here. You can let them fight. I believe the Flood will pretty much always win. So at this point, whew, that's kind of close. That's one of the reasons why you do got to be careful. And it would be helpful to have a shotgun. I'm backed up obviously pretty far, so you do got to be careful of shotguns and of course rockets. I probably should have thrown a nade and then ducked around the corner, because if one of those guys had a rocket launcher, I would be toast right there. Would need to restart. But every time I see a flood, I try to look, even if it... Oh, that kind of surprised me. Even if it comes at the cost of getting hit, I do certainly try to look and see if they have a shotgun or a rocket launcher. So I'm kind of walking in here. I don't see the rocket launcher on the floor, so I know one of these guys has it. So I back up. I just got to figure out who. Found him. He's helping me out more, though, so that's good. I just got to get him. I am really lucky there. And I'm really lucky there. Not gonna lie, 9 times out of 10 I would have been dead in those circumstances. I don't know how I survived, but got pretty lucky. So make sure you kill all the flood in the back. I am going to fast forward it in just a minute here, but I'm really at this point looking for ammo. And for the shotgun, I'm going to keep the shotgun the rest of the way if I could find more ammo. So you might have been wondering what I was doing there, because it did look like I was just doing who knows what. I was specifically making sure my rocket launcher was on the side opposite of where I'm going to run after I jump into the little beam of light that disrupts your shield. And then I was also finding a plasma, either rifle or pistol. Plasma rifle is a little better, but I just had to make sure everything was set up so I don't end up losing my rocket launcher again. So there it is on this side. Get it ready. I'm making sure all the windows are open, so if I need to jump through a window, that's not a big deal. I know where the door is. Jump into the pulse generator and run.
That did it. The pulse generator overloaded.
So you're going to want to shoot a rocket, throw a grenade, shoot another rocket. I thought that would be a well-placed grenade, but they didn't actually charge me right away, so I don't think it killed anybody. But there is a lot of flood that appear, as you can tell. So make sure you don't get caught off guard. I just went through a ton of shotgun ammo. I was hoping to keep a shotgun at this point for the rest of the mission, but nope, ain't gonna happen. And I was just double checking to make sure there wasn't any more. And here we go. So there's a checkpoint here right before you get into the Banshee. I do actually have a couple deaths that come from it. A couple of them are pretty funny. Yep, so there. As you could tell, the video skipped a little bit here.
I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are still powered on. The systems on the Pillar of Autumn have fail-safes even I can't open without authorization from the captain. We'll need to find him, or his neurotransmitters, to start the fusion core detonation. One target remaining. Let's take care of the final pulse generator.
So like I had said before, I actually forgot there was hunters, or forgot to eliminate the hunters on the other side. So I'm slowly doing this here. There's usually one of two ways to be able to take out hunters. A slow way, which is what I'm doing, shooting them from afar. They do slowly, as you can see, creep under you. But as long as you stay far away, you shouldn't have to worry about them firing at you. Kind of the other way, which is quite a bit more risky, especially with two, is to just kind of dive bomb them to get closer and get more accurate. You can really at any point, hop out of the Banshee too from kind of far away, and then, if you do have a pistol like I do at this point, ooh, that was really close. But if you do have a pistol at this point, again, pistol, hunter, easiest thing in the world. As long as you're, dodging his punches and, making sure you dodge whenever he shoots at you. So there we go. It does take a few Banshee bombs to kill him. There is a health pack, which I'm about to go get. I don't realize right away this door is locked. So the health pack is in there. Didn't realize that it was actually locked and you can't access that.
That tunnel leads to the next section of canyon. The final pulse generator we need to destroy is through there.
So an assault on the control room. There's an invisible elite with a sword down here. There is nothing down here anymore, so you don't have to worry about anything. There's also no ammo, just a health pack for if you need it. Again, you still do have an extra Banshee, so if you take any sort of damage, make sure you go back and grab a fresh one. I do die two different times in this section. They are both really funny, or at least the first one is kind of funny. I'll explain it in the blooper section, but you can let them fight if you'd like. I do try to help out the Covenant, and I fire farther ahead at the Flood, simply because, again, the Flood are the biggest nuisances in this section because they have rocket launchers. But speaking of nuisance, that turret is kind of being a nuisance right now, so I'm actually going to eliminate the turret if I can. Barely missed him. But I'm going to eliminate the turret and then go back to helping the Covenant, if the Covenant haven't already won. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. There's no firing, so at this point I feel like it's safe to assume the Covenant had won. I did manage, as you could tell earlier, I did manage to hit a lot of the Flood from farther away. But I'm still being extra cautious because both of my deaths at this point were rocket launcher Flood. So I don't want to leave any room for error at this point. That's kind of, even after 2 deaths, I was kind of tired of dying already. So I'm flying back and forth a little bit to not get hit by the turret and not get hit by a rocket launcher Flood. Even though there is a second Banshee, I do also not want to get hit by elites. There we go. So once everything has been eliminated, in this area there are Flood that have spawned behind. Yep, you could see, I think you could see a body fly, but they're behind both of those last rocks, plus around the corner. So feel free, they don't really charge you unless you get too close, so feel free to just stick back, fire a few Banshees and make sure they're dead. When you do get closer, you will want to basically swoop in and out, so it's hard for them to actually shoot at you. So nothing is popping out. I'm not getting blown up by a rocket launcher, so I feel like I'm pretty safe to move onto around that corner. Unfortunately, you do have to get pretty close to the corner for them to actually pop out. So at this point, I'm right here. I'm like, okay, I'm close enough. They should be popping out, but they don't. I still have to get closer. But the moment I see one of them, I'm going to hightail it out of there. There we go. Yep, the moment I see one of them, I'm going to hightail it out of there so I don't get shot by a rocket. And then I can get a better angle at them. Now that they've popped out, I can actually basically snipe them from a distance. Again, this is just playing a little bit more conservatively, so you could be much more aggressive and get through it a lot quicker. But you do have a lot higher chance of dying. So depending on your style of play, feel free to do whatever you think is best. There we go. I think that is the last one. I think that he died at this point. Or no. There we go. Now I got him. It is kind of hard to tell from far away. But again, I was being a little cautious there around that corner as well. Picking up a little bit more ammo. And it's at this point, in game, you're supposed to be walking the rest of the way. I do the same trick as Hokiebird. I didn't actually know this was a thing until I watched his video. but you can get a ghost through the door. So when I played it as a kid, it was always one of the most disappointing parts of this level. So I was always like, ah, man, I love vehicles. And the Flood are definitely a whole lot easier with vehicles. Nope, gotta keep walking. And it is a big section to just keep on walking the rest of the way from as well. So I am so happy that I learned, oh, a ghost can fit in there. So I got full rockets. Ghost was flipped on its side, but not a big deal. Me and my careless driving are getting the heck out of there. So not only does it make it a whole lot faster in a vehicle, it makes it a whole lot safer as well. The waves of Flood that come in a little bit here. Oh, by the way, you always hop out of a ghost on the right side. So I'll usually make it super easy and just put myself with the terminal to my right. So you can just hop out and hop back in. But the Covenant that spawn in this section, or not the Covenant, the Flood that spawn in this section are pretty difficult on foot. Even if you have a rocket launcher, you're probably going to end up using a lot of the rocket launcher ammo just to try to kill their rocket launcher Flood. And I think there is only one rocket launcher Flood that spawns, but you're basically facing that battle from a distance. So it's, Flood don't intentionally dodge rockets very often or that easily, but they kind of run around, so it's kind of easy to. So just use the Banshee to kind of work the ghost through the door, and there you have it. I've never had it happen to me, but I'm going to take his word for it. If you do go through this section too fast, you might not get your Banshees to spawn at the end. So here, I didn't have any of the Flood appear, so I actually have to go through it a second time. Not a huge deal if you do go through that part fast. I was planning on going all the way through it again, but the Flood actually did appear when I went back. So there's a lot of the little infection forms. Not a huge deal. You can shoot them pretty easily. And then all of the Flood that appear here actually don't have weapons. So the first set of Flood, again, don't have weapons. The second set, pretty much all of them do, including at least one of them with a rocket launcher. So at this point, I'm just waiting, making sure that none of those Flood are dead, and then basically sprint. So there are Flood that appear everywhere. There's the rocket launcher, already almost got me right away. But I took him out. There's a second rocket launcher Flood back there. I don't know exactly where he's at right now, and he's not firing, so I'm just trying to play again pretty conservatively, only trying to have one enemy see me at a time, while the rest of them are off to the right there. Now I'm gonna, oh, and there he is, after I poked my head out there. It's probably, depending on where, that rocket launcher Flood is standing relative to everybody else, I will probably just wait till the very end to kill him. Because he's obviously not aggressive. So if he was aggressive, then obviously I'm going to have to kill him. But there he is, and ooh, it's a good thing he did not have that great an aim, because that was otherwise heading right for me. So it just kind of takes forever here. They're all still not dead. I think that rocket launcher Flood is now behind the other one. Oh, there he popped back out. And so I'm going to play it safe rather than sorry, jump up onto the ledge, so if he does fire at me, then I can at least, back up and avoid getting blown up. Easy as that. So that part hopefully won't be too difficult for you, especially because, and he came back up, especially because they all don't seem to really charge you all at once. You can get away with just killing like 1, maybe 2 at a time. And I was a little surprised here. I must have accidentally double-clicked the button, because I know I clicked it for sure. I guess if you double-click it, then the door doesn't open, but whatever, here we go. There are only kind of 3 major fighting sections left, with the plus the minor section at the tail end. Oop. Another misclick. But this, only the last section is rather difficult, at least in my opinion. I was able to get through every time I've ever done Halo on Legendary. Here, there they appear. Every time I've done 2 Betrayals on Legendary, it's always that last section that's the hardest. So that Banshee doesn't mess around. I did lose quite a bit of health to my ghosts. Now in the yellow, it's usually a good idea to fire at the Flood that actually have weapons, which I didn't do right away, but ended up finally doing that. And there we go. You can also run them over. This Flood doesn't actually have a weapon, so I probably should have kept firing at the Banshee. Especially because you could see the Banshee's starting to die. I don't know if this Banshee's going to come back around, so maybe a couple of shots at him will get his attention. Is he going to come? There are some Flood with rockets down below there. There we go. Waited a little too long. Probably shouldn't have aimed for that turret. While I was playing, I did see him coming out of the corner of my eye. But I was just like, I got a good shot at the turret. I still ended up missing the turret on that first shot, I think. And then got him, but not a big deal. Even with the last section being a little bit harder, you probably won't lose a ton of health unless you run out of ammo. And then you have to start finding creative ways to kill a lot of the enemies. And again, that's also assuming that you don't just skip that final fight. So you can, just drive basically from the Ghost straight to the Banshees, drive off and finish the mission. I've never really found that as very fun or challenging. So I guess if you want like more of a speed run, obviously that's what you do. But that's a good challenging fight, so I've never backed down out of that. So if you're worried about the order of enemies, I'd probably actually focus on the turrets. I knew there was a fresh ghost right on top of here, so I wasn't really concerned about losing a bunch of my ghost's health. I think the ground units are a little bit more annoying because they move around, and so if you try to take cover from a turret, then the ground units can end up shooting you. But you'll want to drive over right away to this section. It's the only real spot that has any sort of cover. You can see the enemies coming too if they do charge you. I don't think any of the Covenant would ever charge you, but the Flood would. If you kill all of the Covenant early enough. But you can let them fight away. I try to actually help the Flood a little bit, just because I feel like in this fight they're a little overpowered. There are multiple elites, multiple jackals, multiple grunts, and at this point I'm just like, okay, if you're going back there, I'm going to let the Flood kill you. Yep, he did my job for me. And right now you still got to kind of worry about any sort of power weapons that the Flood have. There are 4 Flood with rocket launchers way in the back there, which I'm going to go for now. He is not one of them that just popped out there, but I thought he might be. Yep, knew that one was. So I'm like, where are the other three? Ton of ammo, health pack over there as well. I'm going to eventually come back for the health pack, considering I'm thinking to myself, you know, hey, I'm probably going to I could get hit by a rocket, and that might damage me if I don't get killed. But those three are just kind of hanging out in the middle of nowhere. I try to get as much high ground as I can when going against a rocket launcher, because then you could just jump down if they try to shoot at you directly. But here I'm keeping my distance. There we go. The moment he drops his rocket launcher, he's not really much of a threat. So that one in the front did, one in the back didn't, and this guy I think still has a rocket launcher. He's also not charging me. There we go. So even if he's just fallen to the ground and not actually dead and not a big deal, in a minute I'll hop into my ghost. From here on out, you're going to want to end up using the sniper rocket combo. And I forgot where I put my ghost. Silly me, there we go. But, you know, keep in mind too that you did have that pistol, or if you had a shotgun at this point. This is another reason why I do travel with the pistol. It's certainly way more helpful in certain sections to have the shotgun, but I think long term in this level, the pistol is more beneficial than the shotgun. So you can jump up this ledge with the ghost as you just saw. Just right before you jump it, face upward, so that the front of your ghost starts going up. And then I do take out this wraith. 3 rockets will kill the wraith. It's not moving. And again, the Covenant are definitely overpowering in this section compared to the Flood. They'll win every time, so I do want to give the Flood as much of an advantage as possible. And then I'll go back for some rocket launcher ammo. Which again, there's 4 rockets around here. I just drove over one, not realizing it right away. But I did see it in the corner of my eye. There we go. So we got more rocket launcher ammo if I need it. The one bad, and I parked right next to one as well. But the one bad thing is there's not really any extra sniper rifle ammo. So you're working with very limited sniper rifle ammo, which you'll end up wanting to use to, there's the music. So now Flood are going to start spawning. But you'll want to use the sniper to kill as many elites as possible. With more ammo, it'd be real nice to take out a lot of like jackals and grunts. It's just not the case, unfortunately, that you can get away with doing that. Even if you're a really good marksman with the sniper, I mean, those red elites do take 2 snipes. The gold elites take a bunch, but once they get fighting, I usually wait, 15, 20 seconds or so. Make sure they're wow, look at that. I make sure they are pretty entrenched into fighting so that they're more worried about each other. And then I would normally go over and kill that wraith, but obviously that was not necessary. So now I'm really just going to sit back, maybe snipe some elites if I can, but just wait for the end of this fight to occur. No new Flood spawn, but there is a secondary wave of Covenant. I do have a little bit of success sniping, but I'm honestly really not that great of a shot. And I was just kind of waiting there. I'm not even sure if I hit that elite. I might have hit the rock, again with the kind of the poor graphics. But I had the trigger on the elite's head for quite a little bit of time. I was just making sure no Flood were going to jump up in front of the bullet and take it. So, whew, I was just about to say, I assumed that the rocket launcher Flood was dead. And so I was actually going to charge that Flood right there, but then he shot a rocket at me, so bad idea. So and that was another one that took me by surprise. And at that point I was like, well, that guy doesn't have a weapon, that guy doesn't have a weapon now, so yep, ran him over. But it is also something to consider if you're thinking of just different strategies for this section. You can go back and get that other ghost. So there's 2 ghosts in that first open canyon section. If you want to end up using, your ghost to take out a lot of enemies, maybe 1, 2 enemies at a time, you technically have 2 full ghosts. Plus, you had that third one, so if your other ghost didn't have much damage, you got 3 ghosts to work with. So plenty of firepower in terms of vehicles. It is important to remember as well, I do like sniping off this rock. The yellow elite, grunts, and I don't think I've ever had a jackal, but at least the yellow elite and the grunts will be pretty aggressive. I just thought I might give that a try. That was kind of a waste of grenade. I kind of knew it when I was going to throw it, but hey, what the heck. So I am looking to see if the hunters had spawned. They hadn't spawned yet. Again, I like taking out the turrets. Really the primary reason to take out the turret again. Ooh, there we go. Come on. Oh, there's my lack of success. But the primary reason to take out a turret with a rocket launcher is in hopes of getting it to fall on its side so that you don't have to deal with more and more grunts. Again, pretty consistently, turrets are one of the main killers of your ghost's vehicle, or your ghost's health, or even your health if you're on foot at any point. So I drove in a little bit to try to get some of the enemies out here and to see if I can get them to spawn. Not gonna lie, that was a little bit of luck, maybe a little bit of talent, but that's how it's done. Don't forget about the elites that spawn as well. There's invisible elites. I do believe they come in 2 waves of 3. I could be wrong on that. There's another kind of noobish move. I had a perfect shot at that hunter. Ooh. And I just shot the rock right that I was standing on. So, yep. I've said it before, I'll say it a million times. The most frustrating part of Halo, I didn't end up wanting to waste a sniper rifle shot on that jackal, but the most frustrating part of Halo 1 is especially when sniping, is the fact that you snipe the environment half the time, especially if you're trying to get cover. So there's a number of enemies that were kind of creeping up that I had noticed, and then this is another way to kind of draw them out. A lot of them are spread out, so there's like, oh, I had a little bit of help there. A lot of them are spread out, so there's jackals and elites on the far end, so if I have to deal with like 2 grunts and elite, I will. Oh, and then there finally. I knew they were coming at some point. There's plenty of health in my ghost though, so I knew I could be relatively aggressive. Now it's just a matter of trying to find their plasma rifles, or if they're firing at me, obviously. You do have to be careful right now. Again, I have my back turned, and there's hunters that could easily shoot me if I get close enough. So there's those elites. Oh, come on, come on! There we go. Those invisible elites do, I feel like, consistently spawn. There's always one batch around those rocks that I was initially at, and then I feel like the other ones pretty consistently spawn around the frozen lake that's kind of behind me and off to the right. At this point, I'm just being patient as well, seeing what my primary target is the hunter. But hey, there's another kind of frustrating snipe. But if I can take out the hunter, I will, because I feel like I can take out everything else with a ghost if I need to. Hunter might might give me some difficulty as I'm trying to avoid you know, Jackal Fire, Elite Fire. So I just kind of noticed there that the hunter was not facing me. I kind of popped my head out, and then he was facing me. So I do some diversion, actually. Is kind of what I'm doing right now, or at least taking out some enemies. That was a fail there. Trying to slowly take out maybe an elite or a jackal or something. And this is kind of the part where I realize, like, rather than just holding down the right trigger, if I constantly spam it, I can get more accurate fire. So I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert at this game, but it was kind of something nice to figure out. There we go. Makes much more easy work of your enemies from like a mid to long distance. There we go. Got 2 of them relatively easily. I know the yellow elite has been eliminated. I do have to watch out. I'm now in the red, and that hunter, even though that hunter was extremely far away, he nearly killed me. So with a few more enemies down now, I'm gonna, yep, there we go. Double check for these invisible elites. At this point I am getting a little nervous. I know my ghost is at 2 health, and there's at least 1 if not 2 more. There's at least 1 more now. There we go. So I'm, in my mind, I'm kind of thinking I need to snipe this hunter. I only got 2 bullets. I failed pretty much at every shooting every elite. But if I can get this hunter without shooting the rock, and I'm looking, he's kind of facing me, facing away. Just be patient. Come on, there we go. And so my next game plan is to see if I can take out a few more enemies. I know I have 2 health with this ghost, so I do have to be very careful. And that's already not a good sign. I'm at 1 health. So now I'm thinking, well, I got no other choice. I gotta go get that Banshee. I mean, a single grunt with a plasma pistol could take me out right now. That's not a good sign. But I'm gonna try to get some of the more powerful enemies from farther away if I can. The second they fire at me, though, I gotta hightail it out of there. And that plasma rifle shot was a little too close. So all my enemies last knew I was on the other side of the canyon, so maybe I can sneak around here without getting any fire. Well, Jackal noticed me. But hey, okay, we're in the clear. There shouldn't be too many enemies left. So hop in and run away. But look at that. Look how quickly your Banshee can lose its health. So even if you're trying to like speed run, I mean, it can probably be pretty hard. I've never just tried to grab a Banshee right away, but I imagine that can actually lead to some deaths unless you have pretty good timing and a lot of enemies aren't paying attention. But I got in the Banshee, and I shouldn't have any difficulty with this section. You just got to stay far enough away. If my Banshee had more health, then it'd be a little bit easier, and I'd probably save some time to just dive bomb it. But I'm playing it safe rather than sorry, making sure everything's dead. You don't actually want to go through the health of both Banshees. It's like if I were to go right now over to the Sentinels in the tail end of the mission here, with one little slip up, I mean 3 health in the Banshee, those Sentinels do some damage. I noticed that I have 1 sniper bullet, and if I did need to jump out of my Banshee, a sniper with 1 bullet and rockets aren't going to do very well against all of those Sentinels, so at least have a better backup plan. But here we go. all the hard parts of the mission are now done, but you definitely don't want to just fly into these sentinels, thinking you're going to mop them up super quick. They can be a little bit tricky, so again, at this point, you should have the vast majority of your nervousness relieved and should be able to finish up the mission a-okay. Just go from a distance. You can basically kind of get away with shooting randomly, even if you can't see them. There's enough sentinels that your fire should eventually hit them. Plus, as you can tell, they get a little bit closer. Fortunately, they get a little bit closer, kind of one by one, maybe two at a time will get a little closer. But you won't, as long as you stay far enough back, you shouldn't be overwhelmed by all of them all of a sudden. So one down. Aim can be a little bit difficult. Once you see red, they can start firing at you. Looks like I only got a couple, so I know there's probably more in the doorway. But that shouldn't be a problem. I'm gonna have this plasma pistol. There is some extra ammo, and as you can see, an assault rifle right there. There we go. And there we go. Health back if you need it. But probably the best combo for the tail end here is plasma pistol. If you can find or plasma rifle for sure. If you can find a plasma pistol, do it. But rockets also work. I, again, was already a little frustrated. I nearly lost all of my shield, barely firing at them. So these sentinels do not go down without a fight. Just be aware of that. Again, it's not a hard part, but it can be a frustrating part, especially if you're just like, I want this mission to end. It's, again, probably the longest mission, just time-wise. I had a couple of sentinels line up pretty well there, so anytime you can do that, rocket launcher would be nice. But mop them up as best you can here, and you're home free. I am going to end up having 7 total bloopers, so I did revert to checkpoint like I had mentioned before several times, but I didn't include those in the bloopers.
Final target neutralized. Let's get out of here.
Let's find a ride and get to the captain.
No, that'll take too long.
You have a better idea?
There's a teleportation grid that runs throughout Halo. That's how the monitor moves about so quickly. I learned how to tap into the grid when I was in the control center. Unfortunately, each jump requires a rather consequential expenditure of energy.
Something tells me I'm not gonna like this.
But I'm pretty sure I can pull it from your suit without permanently damaging your shields. Needless to say, I think we should only try this once.
Do it.
So like I said, I got 7 bloopers, several of them coming right away. It's probably the toughest part of the mission. There we go, there we go. Unfortunately, the elite kind of knew what I was doing, I guess. And I ran back like I normally would. Try to find cover, but I know grunts are going to descend on me pretty quick. Yep, it's over. Yep. Not much you can do there. And that elite, I did not see him coming, and he didn't kill me, but, a grunt or a jackal did. At that point, that one was another very frustrating one. I missed the elite. This one was also kind of frustrating, so you're usually pretty safe. I see a bunch of people here. Fire, fire, fire. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed I got a little too close, and ouch. Here is one of these jackal runs where I killed the elite, and then the jackals can overpower you. I thought I was safe at that point, but I guess not, and the jackal would come down anyway. Here's another one where I died twice in this section. This one was very funny, not gonna lie. I see a flood running underneath, and boom. I'm not sure why he didn't fire earlier, but oh well. similar thing kind of happens here. So I'm trying to play a little bit more conservatively after that death. And I had eliminated all those enemies around there, so I thought. Trying to get out of there. Nope, sorry. But thank you so much for watching. We have a couple more levels to finish up. I'll see you trying to save Captain Keys.